From Provo, Utah, this is the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Kaleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. I'm Joe.
I am Kaleb.
And today we're going to be talking about the Tales of Zestiria.
Yeah.
Again, for another 2.5 hours.
This seems very familiar to me. I feel like there was another moment in time a few months ago where we had some bleed over from both shows.
I'm trying to remember.
There's something in the back of my mind that just says that this has happened before, some sort of deja vu.
I am honestly not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolute truth. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
All right.
But there is some bleed over into both shows. I, of course, have delayed Lightning Returns for forever because of Tales of Zestiria, which I beat this morning. And now there were a lot of things about Tales of Zestiria that I want to talk about when it pertains to Final Fantasy. And
right, yeah. I mean, you brought up a good point.
Or the Tales series, but Tales of Zestiria is, of course, my first foray into that series.
Yeah, you brought up a good point earlier. You said something along the lines of, it feels like an old school Final Fantasy, something that Final Fantasy hasn't done in a long time.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. So I'm interested to see what connections you have drawn to the early on games.
But before we get to that, let's do some plugs real quick. You can find the show at youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can also find it at facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can tweet me at Joseph DeGolier.
Me at UFF Podcast.
If you want to see us record the episodes live, you gotta go to the twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can go to our website, ultimafinalfantasy.com. Join our forums there, which is where we ask all the questions and all that good stuff. And if you want to support the show, we have a Patreon link, a PayPal link, and an Amazon link if you so desire.
Yeah, special shout out to Andrew Gonzalez, recent pledge. Thank you so much for your support of our project.
So we all know where I am in Lightning Returns. Schweiss, where are you in Lightning Returns?
I am actually almost done with the game.
Nice.
As it were. I have, I think, like one more chapter and then the final stuff. I'm not 100% sure, obviously, because I've never played the game before, but as far as I can tell, it seems like I have just the one area. And the frustrating part about that area is that I have to fight Caius again from Final Fantasy 13-2.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that alternate ending in 13-2 is apparently the canon ending of Final Fantasy 13-2.
Okay.
So, or wait.
I don't know. Yeah,
I guess they both. No, they both work. I don't know. Fuck it. Whatever. So I'm pretty close to the end of the game. We'll
figure it out before we do the review.
Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of the side quests, and I know I was really bitching about the game last week. I was really complaining about Hope just pissing me off while I'm playing this thing. That still exists. He's still upsetting to me. But I don't know. I've had a newfound love for the game in the last week's time. I haven't been doing very much streaming, which is lame, but I don't know. It's the reason why, honestly, is because I keep dying a ton on the bosses, and like I don't want to deal with that while I'm streaming because I get so pissed.
Pissed?
So evil. Like punching stuff, like couches, kicking shit, just utter rage on some of these boss fights because they're crazy.
Why your couches are always falling apart.
No, they're falling apart because of you fat fucks using them to stand up. You like, it's got a nice plush back to it, and you use that part, the cushion part that's stitched together to lift your massive bodies up off the goddamn couch. That's why they're ripping. It's not the rage. I'm not punching the pillow part. I punch the hard part. I want pain. I want suffering.
Yeah, but you're just hurting yourself. It's
I know. That's the point.
Wow.
That's how you quell the rage. That's
So
how
it's
you
all
chill.
masochistic, or
Yeah, that's how. No, I'm fucking serious, man. That's how I do it. That calms me. It calms
Do you want me to give you some calming exercises?
No,
You don't want them?
no.
Okay. All right.
I already have them. That's what that is. It's calming.
Yeah, well, I
exercise.
can give you ones where you don't have to punch anything.
Well, what's the fun in that, though? It doesn't.
There is absolutely no fun in punching anything. I can't see that point of view at all.
All right. But I am enjoying the game, though, and it is very difficult. The difficulty is on point. The one of the other big reasons why I'm not streaming it is because there are tons of side quests in this thing. It's just filled to the brim, to the hilt with side quests, if you will, and I want to make sure I'm hitting as many of those as I can throughout my playthrough so that I can have the stats I need to do the New Game Plus and to run through and finish up the trophy cleanup. So I will play the game on New Game Plus, and I will stream my playthrough of that, so you guys can see what I've done with my previous playthrough when I jump on that. And I'll probably start on that hopefully sometime this next week, or this week, I suppose, when this episode comes out. Hopefully I will have gotten close to beating it. I don't know how much time I'll have today, but I'm really looking forward to it. I am enjoying it now.
Sweet.
So.
I'm looking forward to getting it going.
To popping that disc in that
That's
PS3
right.
ears.
Yeah. Switching out which console over there has the HDMI cord plugged in.
Yeah, it's an exciting day.
I'm ready, man. I'm so ready to play something that's not Tales of Zestiria. Not that Tales of Zestiria, there's a problem with it, and I really didn't honestly put that much time into it. I put like 30-something hours, 32, I think.
Yeah.
It's just, life's been hectic. At the same time, we had too many games. So
Yeah, we did, and we totally did it to ourselves. But
totally put off that game, and it screwed a whole lot of things up.
Yeah, that time is...
Okay, it's getting other
past
people
us
ready
now.
to play 14, right?
Yeah,
There
we're
you go.
letting all
More
of
time.
you guys
That's right.
get caught up to our level, and so we can run through Heavensward together. You guys you don't have very much time now. I think it's
No,
probably
we don't.
only a few weeks until
Shit.
we review this thing.
Shit. Oh, man.
It depends on how quickly you beat it, though. I mean, because this is the only game in front of you right now, isn't it? No, we have Bounty Hunter, but that's
Star
like
Wars
7
Bounty
weeks
Hunter,
away or
yeah.
6 weeks.
Is it that far away?
Yeah.
Really?
We have a movie in between.
Oh,
Because
okay.
we did the 7 week thing.
Oh man, I gotta go like triple time on this Lightning Returns. Then I'm considering playing it the quick way that you talked about the other day.
Yeah, just grinding out a couple quests and then restarting the game on New Game Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it.
It's a way to do it. I mean, I don't want to do that because I want to get the platinum. And one of the things you have to do, you have to upgrade items, and the only way you can upgrade an item is to get it twice. So, like, I have to go open the same treasure sphere in my New Game Plus that I did in my original game so that I can get that upgraded item.
What?
And you have to do that. I have to get 30 total upgrades. Yeah.
Oh.
So I need to at least collect 30 like head accessories or accessories that go like above the neck, basically, and then I need to go collect them a second time in my New Game Plus playthrough. So it's weird. I don't know if I like that element of it, but I do like a lot of the other things, and it's kind of a fun time management game. It's unlike
It's a fun time management game.
Yeah, you have to really
Copyright.
You have to really dedicate what you have to really set aside time for all of the shit. And certain quests are like timed. Also, they'll only be activated or available during certain hours because the characters are like sleeping or something bullshit, So there's like times to do things. So I don't know. It's unlike anything I've ever played personally, but I'm sure there are other games similar to it. I mean, it kind of has that feel like Final Fantasy X-2 Last Mission, where it's like, oh, this is new-ish, but it feels like it might be something else. Something else came before it.
Sure.
But it's an interesting change, and I am starting to have fun with the battle system. It's very quick. So.
You're starting to have fun with it finally.
Yeah, I don't know.
Done with the game.
Yeah, I'm getting more used to it. It's the difficulty in these 13 games. They're not messing around for the most part. If you play on normal, they're like 13 was a hard game at times. There were some pretty tough fights.
Troyce, I feel like we say things like that all the time, and then someone will in a chat or somewhere will be like, easy game.
Well, I mean,
Plays itself.
I feel like 13. I think a lot of people think that 13's difficulty is up there, like as far as Final Fantasies go. I mean, when you're doing those big fights, Long Gui is crazy. Like if you mess up just a little bit, it can throw off the whole thing, and it can take like 5+ more minutes. Or you could just
depends
die.
on your version for FF1.
Yeah.
Through 3 probably.
Yeah, and
then there's FF11, which I think is the hardest in the series, and then then 13. 13's high, but.
Yeah, I mean 13 there, and it caps your grind too. It doesn't let you just keep grinding out Crystarium points. You have to. You can only get to a certain point, and then it's like, okay, you need to be good at this game to move on, and that's what makes it crazy. Because most Final Fantasy games, you can just grind your way out of a.
And you don't want to rush through that pulse.
No, you don't. No.
You need to stick around and have some fun.
Yeah, have some fun. Yeah, Funny says fighting the same two guys over and over.
Fucking last battle in 13 too. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Even on, were you playing on easy on 13 too?
I think I started to. Yeah.
Yeah,
we said it on the review, whatever it was.
Oh, okay. I know I did the whole thing normal, but it was a long one. Yeah, so I mean I don't know. I think 13 as a series is fairly difficult. And then this one, it's just Lightning. There's no party member. There's no one else. There's no AI character or anything like that. I mean, there are certain points in the game that you do have that, but it's, for the most part, solo. So
see, unlike the other Final Fantasy games where you can just grind up to it, 13 is a little bit level cappy. And even then, 13.2 is probably pretty difficult. Regardless, at least that ending battle is. The rest of it, I guess, wasn't that tough.
Yeah, I mean, it has its moments, I guess, but
yeah, I can't wait to. I really hate the hard ones. Twice.
Yeah, it's funny though because this is one of those.
As a podcaster, I hate the hard ones because the hard ones are going to be giving me freaking heart attacks.
Well, just don't. There's no rush necessarily. Like I'm still going to platinum the game, so I don't think you should rush yourself. I mean. This is art, what we're doing here. This is
sure.
God's work on, through us. This is our baby, this Ultima Final Fantasy. So
I think it's okay to rush the baby. I think
rush the baby, a premature birth.
Rush the baby. That's our new slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just take your time. But it's crazy though because this is one of the few games. I guess 15 is the other one that has come out since we started Ultima Final Fantasy. This came out like very shortly after we began the podcast. Yeah, or at least came out the year that we started the podcast. It might have come out earlier. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember we had that poll that first year, and Lightning Returns wasn't nominated for Best FF Release of the Year.
It was nominated. It did not win.
No, Theater Rhythm
won.
I think it was the original one, wasn't it? Or was it I can't remember.
It might have been Curtain Call, but...
one of them beat it out, which I was surprised at, but I don't know. Yeah,
that was a bad year for Final Fantasy if Theater Rhythm wins.
Yeah,
Still think that. I'm like, wow, Lightning Returns didn't... you would think the big AAA release would win.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be like AAA, but lowercase a, Like it's big, but it's like tiny, small.
So like the credit rating of the United States for a little while, where it was like we went from a AAA plus to a AAA minus or something.
Yeah. Hey, that's what Lightning Returns is apparently. But it's kind of crazy though. It's interesting to play a game that has come out since we started though, and I think that's like a weird thing.
It's a sign that we're moving on. It's that we're moving forward twice.
Yeah, and that we're catching up to the games
halfway
in some way. So, yeah.
Oh, boy.
And Heaven's Word will be another one, so.
Oh, boy.
It's interesting to think about.
Okay, Schweiss. It's a slow news week, but we do have some news we should get to.
Alrighty.
News. All right, so our first of 4 stories in our news is that. By the way, thank you Shinru for sending us news. Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood new screenshots, and it's given us a whole bunch of new screenshots of some of the brand new areas.
All right,
There's a nice beach, nice Wu-Tai looking area called Shirogane.
Yeah, that's the area we saw in the trailer. I was thinking Wu-Tai too. I mean, obviously.
Well, it's got a very Chinese look to it.
The Chinese rooftops, the terraces. I'm excited to get into a new mainland. That's always something I dug in Final Fantasy XIV. It was almost like the cutscenes of old, like, ooh, new area. I'm getting far. We got some swimming and diving. That's cool. So, my God, the Chocobo's underwater.
Oh shit! Are we gonna have like underwater areas? Like,
dude,
is that what's?
I hope.
I'm wondering how the mechanics of that is. That's what my mind is going to.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be pretty similar to just the flying thing that we have yet to do because we didn't get to have it.
There's some samurai shots, the red mage shots.
Like Orin there.
Another city called
Kugane.
Kugane, yeah.
Looks
another sort of Asian.
Yeah, a little Chinese-esque city. This is cool. It'll be great to get to this in 3 years when they finish the fucking
now expansion. That we finally made a decision on that. Yeah. Okay, now this is not really Final Fantasy news, but it is a bit ridiculous. I think a bit far-fetched, but the director for Dragon Quest XI believes that Dragon Quest XI will outsell Pokemon Sun and Moon and Final Fantasy 15 combined. I don't know why he said this, but he said it. Wait,
Pokemon Sun and Moon and Final Fantasy 15 combined.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't get it.
I don't know about that. Those Pokemon games.
I think the Pokemon games they sold 4 million in Japan, and then 15 sold 1 million in Japan. And then he claims that it's going to be even bigger because it's on multiple systems and yada, yada, yada. But I would be blown away.
Yeah, I mean, it is Japan, though, and we know Dragon Quest is bigger out there, but that...
And it could just be Japanese sales for the game.
I don't know, yeah.
That is I don't know, it's a big claim.
Oh, sweet mother of God. Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age original soundtrack trailer. So we have a trailer for a soundtrack for a game that's remastered. Okay, Square Enix is going for it. Let's watch this bad boy.
You can hear some music.
Yeah, that's Final Fantasy XII right there. Got some nice callbacks to the series. It does look pretty good, honestly, but the game looked good before anyway, though, so it's hard to tell, you know.
Yep.
Oh no, I can see some improvements for sure.
There's another track.
Hey, I've heard this song before.
I remember the game.
Hey,
takes me back, dude.
Yeah, it takes us back about, a year and a half?
Was that long ago?
I think so.
Dude, just kill me.
If only I could. 6,000 yen?
That's about
for the Blu-ray disc.
Yeah.
5,000 for the CD.
A lot of money for an album. Jesus.
Yeah, it is. I should get the soundtrack with the game. So
okay,
I haven't looked at that ridiculous expense that has yet to come out of my wallet quite a while, as it hurts me to think about. But I am very excited to play Final Fantasy XII again. I will stream every goddamn minute of it.
Okay. So this is something special. This last little article I have here pulled up from TheVerge.com.
Special and disgusting.
This is special in a few ways. First of all, what happened in the story of the article, and then the philosophy that the article decides to go into. In fact, it's so out there and ridiculous. I feel like we should just go ahead and read this article. So this is on TheVerge.com, and who's it written by? It's up at the top.
Written by James Vincent,
who's at Vincent on
It's titled
Twitter.
Final Fantasy VII player gives life meaning by hitting level 99 before first boss.
Yes. And he's got proof for it. So it says 2 things in this world can make life meaningful. So it's a big.
All right.
Okay. So
is this going to be philosophy, like actual philosophy, or like we're watching The Fountain philosophy?
So the story is that this guy hit level 99, and then we have to write this article that is also about the meaning of life at the same time.
Okay. All right.
So it's stupid is what I'm trying to say. 2 things in this world can make life meaningful. Having the strength to forge your own destiny, to live by your own rules, and not be swayed by the whims and wishes of others, and really sticking it to some stranger on the internet. When Twitch streamer Circle Master spent 2 years grinding through Final Fantasy VII, by the way, that's way worse than what we have to do, to get Cloud and Barret to level 99 before even facing the first boss, he achieved both.
As reported by Kotaku, the beloved and trusted news site that doesn't ever put out fake news.
No fake
ever.
news. Not from Kotaku.
Yeah. This incredible, mind-numbingly boring feat was carried out in order to spite a single individual, an unknown user on a private forum named Dick Tree. Back in 2012, Dick Tree had claimed he would be able to hit level 99 in Final Fantasy VII without leaving the Sector 1 reactor. But at some point, Dick Tree stopped charting his progress, and Circle Master decided to take up the task for himself in 2015. To express, he says, my hatred, and more importantly, my disdain. And even more importantly, my dislike and underappreciation of Dick Tree. I've added the last 2 because I feel like hatred, disdain. Come on.
My hatred, and more importantly, my disdain for Dick Tree.
And even more importantly, my lack of desire to be around Dick Tree.
I got fed up with waiting, and based on my track record of meaningless accomplishments, decided I could do the whole thing before he could bother to finish. Circle Master told Kotaku, those lying pieces of shit, by email. So who knows if this is even true. Parts of this voyage were streamed on Circle Master's Twitch account, but you can see the final leveling take place around 53 minutes below, and then there's a video, which he's just talking over.
Jesus Christ.
Can
you
real.
Imagine that?
Nope, because I would rather actually kill myself. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. I would rather swallow some pills and just go.
Than be forced to do this?
Quietly leave, yes.
Wow, yeah. What if you got to listen to podcasts and you got paid the whole time?
Well, if I got paid the whole time.
Yeah. Like
it depends on like how much I was getting paid.
Okay, living wage while you sit there and grind out in this.
A living wage? Hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I would do that. Yeah, 40 hours a week. No problem.
Yeah, okay. Just checking.
As long as I can listen to my own shit, yeah. That's important, because...
No music. No, I'm just kidding.
Nope, won't do it.
Okay.
In order to hit the level cap, Circle Master estimates that he spent around 500 hours walking around the same few screens in the reactor, grinding through random encounter after random encounter against low-level enemies. To make matters more challenging, the whole enterprise was carried out on a PS1, meaning Circle Master, Bader, could not frame skip or save whenever he pleased.
Some people have pointed out what a tremendous waste of time this is.
Fantastic waste of time.
Others have applauded it for being so quintessentially human. To pile hundreds of hours into a task simply to show you can. Circle Master, though, has his own response and explained why he kept on grinding in a post on a private forum. Not so private now, is it, buddy?
Okay. This is a bit much.
All right, let me take another.
This is taking a lot of meaning into this endless grind. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I have to take a big swig of that Schafferhofer. Okay. Go ahead.
Life does not have inherent meaning. To say that our lives are pointless and our achievements meaningless is to state the obvious. You got some sad music to put under here. No matter how grand our achievements or how broad their scope, time turns all to dust, and death destroys all memory. But that does not mean we cannot ascribe our own meaning to what we do. It is because nothing has meaning unto itself that we are free to create meaning, to make metaphor, and in so doing, reflect on ourselves and our word. Leveling to 99 in the first reactor is pointless and meaningless. So why do I do it? I do it to express my hatred, and more importantly, my disdain for Dick Tree. I do it to express the camaraderie I feel for those of us who have followed this topic for years, only to be disappointed by Dick Tree. I do it to prove to myself that I can persevere. The act is meaningless. I give it meaning. And then the author of this article says, truly inspiring. Schweiss, was that inspiring in the least bit?
I don't know. Not really. It's like it's someone taking something far too seriously. Now, it is a really cool accomplishment, and it has some substantial hog to it, but I don't know if I would go around saying that, drawing like a comparison between like the human experience and him grinding to level 99 in the first reactor, because he finished that, and I don't know, because it's a slight, because it's something that somebody hated on a forum said they were going to do and then didn't do, like, that just seems almost like, I don't know, malevolent, like just like a, yeah, I did it. I did it because, I did it and you couldn't do it, and that's why I'm better than you. Like, I don't know if that, like, I don't know. I wouldn't read too far into this.
No, that's the entire article is reading way too goddamn far into that.
It should be,
hey,
this
look,
guy's
a dude
awesome.
did this thing. Awesome. Yeah, great waste of time. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, tremendous waste of time.
I want to see... Yeah, I want to see what his fucking save looks like, though. Like, there's hours on it.
Well, it runs out, though. It runs out at 99 hours, 59 minutes.
Shit.
On the PS1, so...
Oh, that needs to be...
Oh, it can't be fixed. I
guess
mean,
you can't fix
you can't,
that.
like, patch the fucker. It's a little late. But that is crazy, and I do give him... That is... You know, we need to come up with an amount of hog points... for doing something that's sick, but seriously though, it is a really cool accomplishment. The reason behind it, I don't know if I'm quite as impressed by, but
it's because life is meaningless and I hate Dick Tree.
Yeah, but I give it meaning by hating Dick Tree. You're just creating malevolence that's gonna,
that's gonna take over the world.
Yeah,
okay.
You're gonna be the Lord of Chaos, and then we're gonna have some serious issues. We're gonna have to come take you down. It's just how it's going to have to be.
Jesus Christ. So, yeah, really slow news week.
Yeah, that is impressive, but...
That is very interesting.
I wonder how fast... I want to know how quickly he can beat the rest of the game after doing all that.
Right?
It would be like the ultimate speed run after the, 500 hours of grinding. You just cruise through.
You know what I would rather do? I would rather, like... get your character to 90 or to whatever. Okay, here's what I would do. I would find all the bosses in the game, find out how much XP they give you, minus that from the total amount of XP, and grind to that point. And so when you beat like the last boss that gives you XP in that game, you hit 99.
And just flee from all the random battles.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a cool thing. That would be way cool. Yeah. It'd be...
that would also be ridiculous and time wasting. And
well,
it's like doing a podcast where you play every single Final Fantasy game.
It would take years. I mean, years, literal years to accomplish, right?
Right.
So,
and people will be able to listen to in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, isn't that the freakiest thing in the world? They're like, "Hey, I caught up to you guys." Like, "Oh wow, how long you been listening?" "Oh, a couple months." And I'm like, "Oh, our 2 years just like whoosh." I feel the same way when I see somebody streaming the entire series, and I stop by on Monday, and I'm like, hey, cool, yeah, this is awesome. You're making good time in Final Fantasy 1. And then I come by Friday, and they're like playing 13, and I'm like, hey, that was really fast. Good job.
You don't have a job.
That took me a long time. That was 2 years. Fuck.
Oh,
I'm a
God.
cash.
Oh, my God. No. How about we just quit Nude Clan and do Ultima double time?
Oh, I don't know about that. The people would revolt.
Have one game every 2 weeks.
Wait. We would be done quick.
We would be.
But I don't want Ultima to go. I don't want to have to send Ultima off into the night for a long time. Put it on that canoe down the river, you know.
Wow, really?
Yeah, give it its time.
Okay.
And that's coming from the guy who's 30 hours into Lightning Returns to the man who hasn't started it yet.
Point.
So, yeah.
All right. I got some comparisons to make to a certain other JRPG series that I want to get into, so let's do that.
Okay.
So we went over this the other week when I was talking about how I hadn't started Lightning Returns yet. It was because
Which week was that?
It was because the week before last, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's because our dear Troy Kavanaugh, he did give us 15, and he wasn't going to give me 15, but he did give me 15.
Yeah.
And the caveat was, you know, we got to play Tales of Zestiria for Nude Clan. And we had to review it. And we did review it on Nude Clan. So if you check out the Nude Clan show, you'll be able to find the review there. It's a very extensive review.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You guys should totally listen to it.
I had, besides Final Fantasy, and this includes Chrono Trigger and really anything. It's the only JRPG series outside of Kingdom Hearts, which is, spin-off of Final Fantasy anyway, in a way.
And Disney, so very American.
It's the only JRPG series that I've ever played. I guess,
Parasite
Eve. But it's still,
Parasite Eve is just
you get it, right?
Rated M Final Fantasy VIII, in a way.
It's still, It's not Square Enix.
Yeah, it's a non-Square RPG series that's been a long-running series. It's its own entity. It's been molded. It's the 15th game in this series, and this series is not Final Fantasy. Where they are now are very different places. Tales of Zestiria versus Final Fantasy 15.
It's one of those things where people, especially early on in the podcast, would tell us, oh, you should play this game. You should play this game. You should play Chrono Trigger. Schweiss, you should play Chrono Trigger right now. Hey, how about you skip all that and play some Chrono Trigger right now?
Yeah, you know what happens when we front load all the good games? The podcast turns to shit.
Okay.
The joy turns to ash in my mouth.
So,
and Union's debt is paid.
So we get. I've experienced a lot of Western RPGs. Never experienced another JRPG in the same sort of ilk. Yeah. Now we know, because of the history of Square Enix, and we just knew this already. Final Fantasy is derivative of another JRPG series that has gone on to be quite strong, and that is Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, yeah.
Yeah, and when we look at that game being played by like Caleb Craig or someone, the early Final Fantasies are very similar to the early Dragon Quest games. Now, they've both kind of taken their own little paths. Dragon Quest decided to downgrade almost. They started doing the cel-shaded graphics when they went into 3D. And now they're almost... I kind of doubt it's going to sell 6 million copies. But now they're its own sort of thing. And now Final Fantasy, right around after FF7 and into FF8, it suddenly became, we're going to become the primo... JRPG that has the best graphics that you can think of.
We're going to push the envelope every time.
We're going to push the envelope in terms of production quality. Dragon Quest didn't quite do that. We're going to stick to our roots, is what Dragon Quest said.
Right.
Now, I don't know. How much do you know about the Tales series? Like,
I know a lot of people.
Tales series game as well.
A lot of people like the series that I also communicate with, like on our forums and our community base. They have a more extensive history with Tales of Zestiria than I do. So I assume that based on that, I should like some of them at least. Maybe not all of them. There are some things that some people like that I don't, that are similar interests, right? But it's one of those things that like I've heard people talk about Xillia. I've heard people talk about Symphonia. Zestiria from Caleb Craig, and then eventually from Troy. It's always been a series that I almost create in my own mind. I'm like, what would that be like?
It's like Final Fantasy adjacent.
Yeah, and I mean that's for me. Final Fantasy is one of the only JRPGs series that I've played. I mean, I've definitely played more than you. I played that Legend of Dragoon. I've played Legend of Legacy, a bunch of other little games, just little chunks of those games, but my natural thought process is to kind of wonder what kind of Final Fantasy game it would be, because that's been my staple for the Japanese role playing has been the Final Fantasy series. So Tales, though,
and besides Pokemon, it is the biggest RPG.
Oh
series.
yeah, Pokemon. That's true. That's
Final Fantasy is the pinnacle, regardless of maybe Dragon Quest fans might think. But here's the thing: while playing Tales, I always thought it was okay. It's like a sort of copycat Final Fantasy series, just like Final Fantasy was a copycat series of Dragon Quest, and it, of course, becomes its own thing. Tales of Zestiria is the 15th in the series.
Yes,
and these games, unless they're sequels to each other, they're just like Final Fantasy. They are within their own universe. They have their sort of own story.
Right. They have their commonplace items like Moogles and Chocobos with the Norman. Those are a recurring thing throughout the series I read, and I'm sure there are other things that I obviously didn't pick up on because I haven't played the other games, but it seems to be along that same vein as far as the lore and the worlds are concerned. They are disconnected unless it's Berseria after Zestiria. Apparently it's supposed to be a prequel to it, so very similar in that way to the Final Fantasy series. It's disconnected. Yeah, it's a sequel, but it's not really a sequel. It just has the same name, kind of a thing.
Right off the bat, playing Tales of Zestiria, I noticed something that was extremely similar between Tales of Zestiria and Final Fantasy 15, and that was the combat system. So I feel like the Tales series, and this is only based upon my stuff with Tales of Zestiria, which is really late in the series, I think they probably spun off of the JRPG stuff, the style that was kind of solidified with Final Fantasy. But I almost feel like Final Fantasy 15 is taking a lot from the Tales series in terms of the combat system, which I, of course, always thought it was like Kingdom Hearts, but almost the control scheme is almost exactly the same.
Yes.
Between Tales of Zestiria and Final Fantasy 15.
Right.
So that was the first commonplace thing I saw besides it just being a JRPG.
I picked it up and I was like, oh, okay, I don't need to memorize the controls. I pretty much have them down.
And I was like, it's the circle button. It's the mashing of the circle button with the special moves, with the triggers, with the in-menu item picking.
Yeah.
Where it's like separated. It's not like the other Final Fantasy games. So like red flags went up in my head. I'm like, why did Troy send us this game? Was it to show us that this was exactly the same thing? I'm like, no, that's not true, because he didn't know what Final Fantasy 15 was before all this went down.
Yeah, I'm like, Troy only likes games where he presses circle all the time.
Where we press circle, where we have this exact same
press or
control
hold
scheme, right?
Yeah.
There was something that like really almost like freaked me out. I'm like, oh my gosh, Final Fantasy 15 is just Mr. Derivative. It all comes from this one series. Like, that's how it felt to me.
Right.
And by the way, the ending scene in Tales of Zestiria where the dude is on the throne and there's a sword, and I was like, hold on a minute, this is close.
Yeah, is this at
how long?
12?
What year did Tales of Zestiria come out?
I think it was 2015.
2015?
Yeah, 2015, 2014, one of those two.
Okay, I mean, it just feels like there's a lot maybe it's just in my head. Maybe it's just commonplace among JRPGs, but there seems to be a lot of similarities between Tales of Zestiria and 15. So that's the first thing I want to point out is what it feels like, although it might not be true at all. It feels like 15 took a lot from Tales of something, possibly
Tales of blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because we haven't experienced any of the others.
I haven't experienced any of the others. Apparently, the battle systems are similar in the previous games.
Right. It seems like battle system is kind of their forte, and that's the action style is what they really, really love to do.
Now, 15 had you do something where you hold the circle button and you do a lot more parries and stuff like that. It was a little bit more fluid, in my opinion. Which combat system did you like better? For me, it was 15. I still like the 15 combat better, but they were so similar that you could really compare them if you want to.
Which one do I like more between FF15 and Tales?
Tales of Zestiria, yeah.
I don't know, probably Tales.
Probably Tales.
Bit. I like the solo combat of 15 maybe a little bit more, but I like the fact that I can just switch party members and like get shit done a little easier. And I don't know. I think it's kind of a toss up. 15 is a lot of fun, but 15 I also feel like it gets stale after a while because it's block parry. It's fun, like it's very active, but the thing I like about Tales is I like the customization. I mean, the only things you can customize your weapons and a couple of things within the upgrade system in 15. But I feel like Tales is a lot more extensive.
Tales of Zestiria's upgrade system, its item system is extremely in-depth.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like the arts that you can set up. I like the different moves you can do. I know you can do...
But you can do similar things in 15 with the combo moves with the guys as long as you set them up.
Yeah, with your teammates.
Yeah, dude, there's so many similarities between the two battle systems. It's insane. And once again, it could have derived from another JRPG or even an earlier Tales series. But that's one thing I noticed. Something else I noticed, though, Schweiss, and this is why I'm bringing this up. I almost feel like if you're a person who's a fan of old school Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy 7 and 4 and back,
Yeah.
Because I feel like when 8 came in, I think there was a changing of the guard almost, but maybe even 9 and back. If you're into that type of Final Fantasy as opposed to the newer half of Final Fantasy, or it's 10 and forward, you may want to check out Tales of Zestiria or a Tales game possibly. And the reason I say that is that there are so many similarities between the game that we just played twice and the old school Final Fantasies. Not only is, with the exception of its combat system being a much different sort of thing. In its storytelling, it's very similar. It's very Hero's Journey, which I assume the other Tales games have. It also brings back It brings back that sort of questing thing, where you're going throughout the worlds and you're doing the elemental dungeon,
right? Yeah, you're collecting the crystals.
Elements. Did you get a big red flag like at that moment when you were playing Zestiria, where you were like, "Oh, I got to go to the." And you do this in other games too, but I got to go to the wind thing and get the wind powers.
Yeah, it definitely felt like early Final Fantasy at that point, and it also had kind of a Final Fantasy X feel. Like we're going on. It felt like a big pilgrimage. Sure. Like this is my coming of age. This is me ascending to a higher realm of understanding by completing these quests and visiting these places and getting the blessings of the shrines. It felt a lot like early Final Fantasy mixed in with a little bit of FF10's like pilgrimage style quest line at that point. So it felt similar, but I mean, I don't know. I just kind of felt
it felt real similar. It felt real similar to like FF4 and FF5.
Yeah.
And maybe even FF9. Like it felt similar in tone in that way. It had the anime sort of thing that was going on with FF7 and FF10. But the old school elements and then this large disease sort of thing taking upon the world. Very simple old RPG sort of story going on. That was totally old school Final Fantasy. And there was something interesting to me that's going on with the Tales series that I believe is going on with the Dragon Quest series, and that's not happening with the Final Fantasy series.
Okay, what's that?
Dragon Quest sticks to its guns for the most part, except for its new MMO. Okay? Even when the systems move on, we're like, we're going to look the same. We're going to keep our anime style.
I mean, I can tell a game is a Dragon Quest game just by looking at it. And I haven't played a Dragon Quest game since 8, and I only played it for an hour. I know when it's Dragon Quest.
The Tales series, it seems to be in the same sort of realm. They move around within their own stuff, but they stay the same. Tales series is, of course, it's a very anime art style. That's just kind of, and it stays there. It's good for the system that it's on as far as graphics are concerned or whatever. It's not super flashy. It's quite rudimentary, and it just stays where it's at.
Right.
And it's very simple, and you can almost do those very simple RPG plots because you're in that anime fakey world. Final Fantasy, on the other hand, it started in one place that was near where Dragon Quest was. And I don't know, as the series becomes more and more expensive and gets more and more successful, especially with FF7, where they even went the anime direction, they decided we're going to make this even more realistic looking in terms of our production design. We're going to make this an even bigger experience, and we're going to have these big CGI cutscenes that are going to look real, and every time they come out, the new Final Fantasy blows you away with its visual intensity even more than the Final Fantasy that came before it, once again with the exception of the MMOs.
Right.
So what I'm seeing, I am wondering, Schweiss, for those who are like, maybe they're pissed off at Final Fantasy for moving on.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I'm
not one of these people, but I know they exist.
Yeah, there's the upper. We've always talked about it. The top tier Final Fantasies. The most recent one, in most people's opinion, including our own, was Final Fantasy X. That was like 16 years ago. That's a long fucking time. That is a long time to get a top tier Final Fantasy experience. And that's like one that's considered really good by almost everybody. There are a few people that don't like it because of the art style or whatever, and I get it, but it's still a top tier Final Fantasy game. And for the best one, or one of the best top 3 of the 15 games we have now to be a decade gone, it's crazy to me. It's something, and a lot of people have expressed their concern. I mean, starting with Final Fantasy 13, really. I mean, a lot of people, there was some outcry to Final Fantasy 12. I feel like if people would have played Final Fantasy 1 through 3 a little more, they would realize that 12 is most certainly a Final Fantasy, just like FF11 is probably the most Final Fantasy other than the first Final Fantasy that has ever existed. To be quite fucking honest here. It's more Final Fantasy than Final Fantasy. After 12, I think 13 did take a different direction. I mean, they had always looked good as games since 7, right? Or since 6 even. They had been top tier, great looking games on their console. But 13, I don't know, something about it changed. The combat was different. There were a lot of things that they
were trying to appeal to other gamers. They were trying to keep their series on top.
Right. It wasn't as much about,
and still are.
It wasn't necessarily as much about keeping those close-knit fans, keeping that community nice and tight, and keeping everybody happy, taking care of the people that you have already. It was about bringing in as many people as possible, which isn't a bad thing. And I agree with you that I don't necessarily agree with the people that think Final Fantasy is dead. I think Final Fantasy is different. I think Final Fantasy may have had a stroke for a little while, and it's a little off, but it's on the recovery, right? They're recovering from it. They're getting motor skills and that side of their face again. becoming more.
I think 15 was in the right direction. Yeah,
yeah, I guess.
I love
15. I think it's fine, but I do think 16 they are going to go back to the roots. And honestly,
do you want them to though?
To some extent, yeah, I do. One thing that I think would happen if Final Fantasy 15 would have failed, if it would not have done well, I guarantee you Final Fantasy 16 would be the most traditional Final Fantasy we'd had in a long time.
So yeah, if 15 had failed, we would be looking at probably a better looking still, but like we would be looking at Tales of Zestiria.
Yeah, we would be looking at something
like,
that...
oh, this is old school RPG, straight up. So I think what I'm trying to like explore here is the fact that Final Fantasy always evolves, and that's the thing that Final Fantasy is. But if you're not in that place, frankly, I'm recommending the Tales series, or at least Tales of Zestiria.
Yeah.
Because it was so like that middle period Final Fantasy. It wasn't as good. Like the story was kind of you know, and a lot of people have complained about that with Tales of Zestiria, but like the tone was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was the big group of people with all these colorful characters going on to save the world. This elemental threat. Right. Very simple plot.
Great development for the characters, even if the story is like whatever, very generic. A lot of Final Fantasy, not a lot maybe, but especially the early ones, very generic, very basic storytelling.
Yeah.
The story structure is set up in a very similar way. Tales is that way too, but it's more about the characters. It's more about their development, their interactions with each other that makes the game enjoyable, that makes the story interesting. And that is something that 15 does have. I feel like the characters are probably one of the most interesting parts of the game, but 13, I don't know. I don't really feel that way with 13. 14's an MMO, but even then, I don't really care about that many of the characters in 14. There are a few that I enjoy. I enjoy Ida and Palamanu, whatever the hell his name is. I'm gonna get shit on for that, but her little buddy. Those two, their interactions are great, but not really anybody else. Like 13 has some characters that really drive me nuts. 12, everybody's kind of meh. You know, main two characters are real annoying.
Put to the side? Oh, okay, well.
I wish they were put to the side.
I wish Balthier and Bosch when you said main characters.
Oh, no. The ones who should have been the main characters are pretty awesome, but
they're put to the side.
Yeah.
You know, I liked my experience playing Tales of Zestiria, and I think it kind of opened up my mind quite a bit to the idea of other JRPGs having similar experiences to that kind of like central Final Fantasy experience. Of course, nothing will ever be as big as the new Final Fantasy that's coming. So Final Fantasy 15, doesn't matter what the other JRPG is, no one has the budget that Square Enix does when it comes to how big these games and how impressive, at least visually, these things will be. Someone did just bring up Persona in the chat, and I would say that Persona, it takes place in like a modern school, right? Or something like that, like a murder mystery sort of thing going on. Is that correct, Craig?
It depends on the game.
Depends on, okay, are any of them like Dungeons and Dragons-y sort of?
No, they're all more modern.
They're all modern.
With a minor dungeon crawl.
Okay, so they're modern type RPG games that are dungeon crawling. See, that would be the thing that would not fit that with the Final Fantasy games. That's why I would look at Tales as a better sort of comparison series than the Persona series. Although, of course, RPGs are RPGs, whether or not they're modern or not. But when I was thinking of Parasite Eve as another JRPG, I didn't think of it that way because it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy, like it doesn't feel like it's in the wheelhouse of even old Final Fantasy. It's just,
right, yeah, it's got its own battle
maybe
system.
FF7, because FF7 is the weird one. In 13.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It feels like, honestly, Parasite Eve probably feels more like a Crisis Core kind of game. Like it's more active. The battle system's a little more involved, engaged. You get to move around. You could dodge attacks. I don't know. It's got its own feel though. Yeah,
I would recommend the Tales games though to people who miss old Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it was like a nice callback, like a year and a half, 2 years ago when we were playing those early,
such a beautiful callback
FF games.
I would say it's a callback in the way it feels to like FF3, 4, and 5. It's a callback in the way it looks. In a way, it's way more anime, but it is FF7 sort of region, FF10, because of all the anime. But yeah, and in its battle system, it's really modern. So that would be something that I guess would take away from it. But I think I liked it as a good alternative to a Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what Chrono Trigger brings, because that's usually the one that people go to.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that are into our show. I think either FF6 or Chrono Trigger is the best game ever made, or FF7. Of course, there's a shitload of people that think that, but
yeah,
those three are supposed to be really great, and it's the most exciting part about the whole thing is that I have zero experience with Chrono Trigger. None. I haven't touched it at all.
I've played about an hour.
Okay, did you like it?
Really odd battle system. For me at the time, I don't know what I would think now.
Yeah, I mean, Tactics was brutal for me when I tried to play it last, but that was years ago, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Chrono Trigger didn't keep going. They didn't keep making Chrono Trigger games.
Yeah, there's just Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, which we will play both of those for this show. So.
Right, yeah. I'm excited to get to that in
when we're almost done.
Yeah, 10 years from now.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Okay, well, Schweiss, we do have some questions we may as well answer.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Questions for us. We would like to hear from you. To a moment. Or contact us on Twitter. Get on and ask your questions. Participate within week. This is the question segment. Ask and you will receive.
All right, so we have one here from Captain Bosch. It's titled
Von Ratzenberg of Dalmasca.
Creating a Character. I think overall the Final Fantasy games, we've gone from the relative extreme of a blank slate to a fully fleshed out character. Tidus barely has a personality, whereas Cloud not only has a distinct personality, but through the expanding universe has somewhat explored variations of his personality. Vaughn is about as blank as Link, but Noctis has a really deep character in comparison. Having experienced so many main characters, do you think they should continue flip-flopping like they have been, or continue doing one or the other? Zidane was a really interesting character to experience the story through, but Squall, who if anyone says he has a personality, I'll fight to the death, allowed for more immersion in his opinion. What do you think, and do you think it's possible to strike a balance? Is your favorite character deep or relatively shallow, and do you think it had anything to do with why you like them?
I don't know if
Tidus has a personality.
I think Tidus has a very strong personality.
Tidus... Yeah.
And I would actually say Cloud is definitely more, if you're going to compare the two characters, Cloud is more of a blank slate than Tidus is. So I'm not sure if I agree with your premise on that, but okay. There are, I guess, different types of main characters for Final Fantasy games. There's the sort of go out and do the right thing, happy-go-lucky type.
Right.
And then there is the sullen, I have a dark past type. Mainly Squall and Cloud.
And Lightning, I would say.
And Lightning.
Is pretty sullen.
Okay, well, let's go through it. So FF1 doesn't count. FF2,
they're pretty
I would say, yeah, let's go and do the right thing. FF3 is also in that realm. FF4
plays with things a little bit more.
It does. It is more complex, so...
I'd say middle ground, honestly.
I would still go for the more happy-go-lucky.
5 totally
is definitely happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, Bart's is like...
FF6 with Terra is the I'm a dark character with a dark past, but she becomes...
the happy character.
The more happy character. But there's a bunch of characters to pay attention to.
Yeah, 7 and 8, very... very sullen, very blank slate. Cloud's got more personality than Squall, but...
Okay, so are we just looking at introvert-extrovert here? Because that's what I'm seeing.
I guess. I don't know.
In a way. And we're simplifying it a lot.
Yeah.
So let's call FF9 the extrovert FF10 is the extrovert. FF11 doesn't count in this case.
FF12 would be probably extrovert too with Vaughn.
I guess so, but he is kind of a bland character.
He is bland, but he is very, he doesn't
really have anything driving him.
Yeah, if we're gonna say Bosch, then I would say probably Bosch would be, if we were to choose our protagonist, then Bosch, and Bosch would be the inner dark conflicted character, and then 13 is the inner dark conflicted character. 15 is a much more complex. Noctis is a pretty complex character. I think he is a little bit more happy-go-lucky. I think he's designed to look one way, but his personality is a little bit more complex and a little bit more outgoing than that. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I could live with that.
He's like a better written Cloud, I would say. Maybe. I guess if Cloud wasn't so depressed.
So which do you prefer?
Well, twice I like games in all those realms. Sometimes it's a little too much where they get annoying, like Titus or something like that. But even then, I think he works for the story that he's in. Yeah,
Titus is annoying for a while, and then I don't know. He grew on me, so I don't hate him as a character. I think he is really quirky, but when shit hits the fan and shit starts getting serious, so does he. He doesn't stay quirky. He really understands what exactly he has to do, and he deals with it like a man. He goes in, I say like a man, like a strong character.
Sure.
Easy. No one needs to get tricked here. He deals with it.
Don't get your panties in a bunch.
Yeah. I mean, your boxers and or panties. But I feel like he is a strong character, and honestly, I like both. I think the game should define the main character. Like, I think there are games that fit certain characters a little bit better, like I like what they did with Terra in 6. I like what they did with Cecil in 4, where it is very dark, it's very brooding, it's very evil in the beginning, and then he becomes a paladin, and it becomes a little cheerier, I guess. He's not evil per se, but he is fighting people that are, and I don't know, I kind of like both, but honestly, if I were to choose one or the other, I would definitely choose to have a main character that is totally fleshed out in a good way. I mean, blank slates do allow you to kind of portray yourself onto the character, but at the same time, I don't think Titus is a blank slate, and his whole purpose as a plot device is to guide us through this freakish world that is freakish. This game acknowledges the fact that this shit's weird, but, we do it through Titus's eyes. We might not act as Titus would, and he does act on his own volition and his own stupidity at times and belligerence, but it is a plot device, and I really like that with Titus. I think that's a great balance. I don't know if it would necessarily work for all of the games in the series, but I do like that they used his character to sort of show us this world, because it was a new thing for him and it was a new thing for us as well. It was surprising, and like his surprise was our surprise, and like all of that shit worked really well, but at the same time he wasn't a blank slate, so we don't necessarily need a blank slate character to cast ourselves on. I think we can all appreciate the hero's journey storyline. We don't need it to be a blank slate to relate necessarily.
Someone brought up once in one of my classes a couple years ago that the reason why video game stories will never be as good as movie stories is because most video games look at the main character as something with no personality, and that you're supposed to project your own personality upon that character. But when you do that, you're actually taking the emotionality out of whatever the medium is, so you don't actually feel anything because there isn't something for you to emotionally lash onto. So, I mean, you could agree with that or not agree with that. I think there's some truth in that. So that's why Link's story doesn't fucking matter whatsoever. It doesn't really matter what happens to him. You don't actually care. You're not going to cry in a Zelda game because of what happens to Link. You might cry because of a really strong subplot in the game that you got attached to, but it will never be because you're controlling a character and the things that happen to your controlled character simply because you're controlling it. So you play characters in Final Fantasy, and you're going to be more attached to characters that maybe have more of a personality, maybe have more of a backstory, maybe have a save the cat moment, I guess. Like someone that you sympathize or empathize with when you're playing the game, because the game has given you that story within that character and you haven't projected yourself onto it. I think a strong character can be anything as long as they're a strong character. It doesn't matter if they're externally focused or if they have really annoying personality traits, like a laugh that is annoying as hell, like with Titus. I don't think that matters so much. And Final Fantasy, it keeps moving on regardless. And, you know, I don't think it would be good to have the same type of main character every single time. Unless you're one of those people, you know, once again, maybe you, like we were talking about with Tales of Zestiria, maybe you just want to relive that sort of simple type of storytelling with the character who's gung-ho to save the world, in which case there's another series for you to check out. I don't want them to continue doing the same thing over and over again. I really liked the 4 characters we got with 15. That was great, but I wouldn't want FF16 to have the exact same 4 characters.
Yeah.
I think that would be, I don't know, lame.
Yeah, I think blank slate characters have their place, but I don't know. I honestly, you know, one of my favorite things in this world is Game of Thrones, right? And
Sure.
Is there a single blank slate character in that entire series? No, I don't think so. They're well-written characters. They're well-rounded characters. They do things that are good. They do things that are evil. They're interesting to watch. The story is fucking awesome. And that's why I watch it. I don't need to feel like I'm part of it. I just am that character. When I'm reading those books, I am John. I am Tyrion. I am whoever I'm reading. That's what reading is. So I don't see why video games can't be the same way. Like, I don't think, oh, well, Ash is a girl. I can't feel her plight. Like, of course you can imagine how it would be to be, like, just recently wed and your husband gets, like, murdered, cut down in some battle. And, you know, I feel like you can connect with a non-blank slate character. But at the same time, I don't necessarily hate the ones that are blank slates either.
Caleb just put Hodor as a blank slate, and I would like to say that Caleb has not seen Season 6, so...
Yeah.
Fuck you, Caleb. Fuck you. Caleb Craig is on the show today.
Yeah, in a way.
Speaking of fucks.
So there's that, and yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't know if I would give them shit for having blank slate characters in the future, but I certainly think that you can create a story where no one should be a blank slate character necessarily. I mean, and if they are, they can position it in a way that they have amnesia, or they are like a Titus character where they're new to the world. Everything's new around them, so that we can relate while with them still having their own unique personality and unique traits and whatnot. So Fruff says, well, I would disagree that Titus doesn't have a personality. I just think his character is living in a state of confusion because he's ripped from his world and put into an entirely new world. Everything he knows is gone, and everything is strange to him. His favorite character is Cloud, and he thinks the most important factor why a person latches onto a particular character is time. You need to be in exactly the right point in your life for a character to have an impact on you. I cannot say for sure if I played FF7 now for the first time if I would have the same feelings about Cloud, but I know at the time when I first played, I was at a point in my life where the timing was perfect. I was 15, kind of going through a rough time in high school, so I really related to Cloud's angst. I know Squall gets a lot of shit, and I'm not a fan of FF8 at all, but I can say I related to that character at the time as well. On the flip side, I'm 34 now, and while I liked FF15 and thought Noctis was a good character, I did not feel a strong connection to him. I think nostalgia is an incredibly strong emotion. I could easily be wrong, but I think anyone who says Noctis is their favorite character would be someone that played 15 as one of their first Final Fantasy games.
Well, yeah, favorite character versus one you can empathize with. I don't think every time you watch a movie or play a game, I don't think it necessarily has to be the greatest experience of all, like a life-changing, nostalgic experience every single time. I liked 15 a lot. I thought it was really, like, with some flaws aside, I thought it was a really great story. And I mean, that's the opinion part, right? But I would say I wouldn't just watch the same movies over and over and over again because, well, these were the only characters I liked because I was connected to them when I watched this movie. Like, yeah, you go into every new experience and you get attached and then you're done. And then you go into the new experience again and then you're done. And if you like it enough, you'll go back to it. That's a weird philosophy. I don't know if I dig how nostalgic things are getting for people in their mid-30s. And even people my age were like everybody like Drew. Drew just goes off on Pokemon all the time. He's just Pokemon centric. And I'm like, dude, I dropped Pokemon a long time ago.
Yeah.
The show Pokemon even. Like,
oh, yeah. The show is awful. I mean, come on.
I get that you're nostalgic for it, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy new things. If all I want to see is Power Rangers again and again and again.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I know that people are, for some reason, are just stuck.
Well, and you know what? I honestly, at times,
I don't get it.
I feel like it's safe to leave some of those nostalgic memories behind. It's good to leave them at what you think they are, because when we go back to certain things that were created during a time where we didn't have standard shooter controls or games that were playable, like when the other night on Nude Clan we streamed Medal of Honor European Assault, a game that I find almost unplayable in nearly every way.
Yeah.
And if I had to go through the main campaign of that thing, I don't know if I could. I don't think I could beat that game. I can't. I can barely hit anybody. It's wonky. It's sloppy. So honestly, those great memories that I had playing European Assault should remain just that. Great memories playing European Assault. I don't know if going back to it is I don't know. And it's not because of the age of the character or like the time in my life that I was in during European Assault, because I never had like a World War II tour-esque moment in my life. So I don't know. I don't know if latching on necessarily for me is the same way. I could see how that would be the case with some of these FF characters, but I don't know, man. I think objectively good is objectively good. So regardless of the time, I think it's, like Godfather is a great movie now. It's a great movie when I watched it a month and a half ago. It was a great movie when it came out. It was a great movie 10 years after it came out. It was a great movie 20 years after it came out.
It'll probably be great 20 years from now, yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to not be great.
Right.
So
that doesn't mean that you need to have a remake of The Godfather. Or, okay, every time a new Final Fantasy comes out, how come it's not just like this old Final Fantasy game?
Yeah. That's why it's not upsetting to me. It's... I don't know. I like to treat them as kind of their own things.
To me, I like the new experience thing. Like, why should? Okay, so Captain Bosch's question had to do with, do you want to pick one type of character for them to do every time now, or whatever? What's your preference?
Yeah.
I would say just serve the story and make a good character. It doesn't have to be one way or another, and I'll enjoy the new experience. I don't get it. I think we all need to stop looking with the super rear view mirror. There's so many good stories to explore. They didn't all come out in fucking 1977. Yeah. Okay. They're not all Star Wars. They're not all Final Fantasy VII. We can keep exploring, guys. So you don't have to stay.
We can also keep rehashing the same thing and giving it a new number attached to it.
There you go.
Yeah, we can make a 4 or a 7. All of a sudden, it's we can, but why? Why do it?
See, I'm not in that realm, but sure.
Shit. Okay, we have a sweet video here from Shinru titled, it's not titled this, but it's, "Hey Joe, will you kill Adamantoise in one hit?" Spoiler alert, Joe already killed Adamantoise, so he can't kill the guy again.
I killed it. I did kill it in one hit. The last hit that I hit
was the hit
that killed Adamantoise.
That's... We don't even need to watch this. All right, let's watch it anyway, though.
Okay.
All right, so guys got Oracle Earring, Ring of Lucii. Okay, never mind. Green Chocobo.
He thinks he's cool because he's got the green chocobo. Is he using the ring? He's using the ring.
Yeah.
So you can just do that in one thing now? Is that the new patch? Wow. Do I need to like do some special thing in order to kill that guy in that one hit, or?
I think so. I think there's some sort of combo.
It's like there's no way you can just. I hope the game didn't just put out a new patch where it was suddenly.
Yeah, they were just like, you know what, that fight's shit. Here you go. Just get the
use
trophy.
The ring. Just use the ring that you got in Chapter 13.
Yeah, use this item, pull out the ring, one shot, it's over. You don't have to suffer that god-awful camera angle and entering the thing's fucking skull and...
Jesus, don't remind me.
God, fuck. We just made it huge and then we shit our pants when the time came to do it right.
All right. I think we should get some iTunes reviews going on twice.
Do we have iTunes reviews? I've been itching to play that.
We have 3 new iTunes reviews.
That Black Sabbath song, but if you say so, I guess we'll do it.
iTunes reviews. iTunes reviews.
All right.
Let's see. First up here looks like
First 2 are from the U.S.
Oh, okay. Go for it. You can
Okay, like Ultima, but it doesn't cost 99 MP. 5 stars from Cloudy Pikachu. I love this podcast, and I listen to it whenever I'm playing a Final Fantasy game on my phone. The hosts have character.
blank slate character or like well-developed character?
No. We aren't characters. We have characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And he or she apparently knows, how we have good characters. Why?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Somehow they know that.
That's impressive.
We're not doing the snake oil thing over the podcast.
Yeah. Buy now. Order now and we'll do shipping for free, guys.
The hosts have character and are entertaining to listen to, and the topics are fun and somewhat unique. Well, I'm glad that they're somewhat unique.
Yeah, our goal in life is to be somewhat unique. So thank you for commenting on that. Thank you so much for the review.
Thank you.
This one's titled Great Podcast, a 5-star review from Fungus Humongous. It's a great name. Recent listener, love the podcast, even though the fan fiction part makes me cringe. You guys gave ample warning before the section, though. So thanks for that, because I listen at work. Keep up the good job. Hopefully you're blasting that and you're like, no. You got like a client in there. Yeah, and it's that part where we're just like, oh man. Yeah, the dog lapping up the water thing.
Oh, yeah.
That shit's great. Don't worry though, that goes away after not a very long time.
8 parts?
7 or 8, yeah.
Top notch, says Ryan Adams.
83.
10th of March, 2007.
2007, huh?
2017.
Man, we've been doing this a long fucking time.
I can't do. I found this while playing through 15. Cracking show by a top duo. Listen to all episodes and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I have played all the FF games from 7. I remember buying 7 the day of release here in the UK.
Right.
Onwards, and due to the honest opinions, we'll play through the original 6. Just need to grin and bear the very dated gameplay elements.
You'll be surprised, my friend.
We'll need to pretend I'm back in that era of gaming, but yeah, Kaleb and Joe, top guys, make you laugh and sigh. Also, top work on New Clan 2, Simon P.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much, Simon P. And I hope to God that was a perfect
I actually
impersonation.
I made it through the entire review.
Yeah, that was good.
I usually give up halfway through. I made it through.
Yeah, listen to that dedication to read your review, Simon.
Jesus Christ.
That's something right there.
Thank you guys so much for your reviews, guys. Just go to iTunes, or if you got one on Stitcher or some other place, just let us know. Sometimes we got them in the emails.
Sometimes not.
Sometimes not, like today. Schweiss, we got a question from us to you last week that was pretty sweet.
We do. Let's go over that shit.
Okay, so last week, twice, I asked who would win in a fight, Ruby Weapon or Godzilla? And some people have answered.
All right.
Machete Facelift says Ruby Weapon, and the reason, because of his unwavering bias.
Okay. Shinru answers...
At least you're honest.
Yeah. Godzilla, Emerald Weapon, and then Ruby Weapon.
Okay, so Godzilla would still defeat them all.
Yes.
Yeah, and the alligator would eat them all, too.
Yeah.
Is that bug? Okay, you know what? That's always confused the shit out of me. And even sometimes I still second guess myself on the greater than and less than symbol.
Yeah, because either way is an alligator.
Because, okay, so the alligator... Okay, this is what I remember in elementary school. The teacher taught it so that the alligator wants to eat the bigger meal. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the Godzilla is greater than Emerald Weapon.
Right.
That I am right.
And Emerald
I am
Weapon
that right?
is less than Godzilla because he wants to eat Godzilla over.
But sometimes
Emerald
I
Weapon.
second guess myself and go, wait, does the alligator want the meal that it can eat? like if the other meal is too big?
So you're saying
alligator wants the smaller meal?
So he wants like a quick snack. It's like a midnight snack, whereas one alligator might want a full-on dinner.
Sure.
Okay, so it's time of day alligators.
Or like, is the bigger than sign just an arrow pointing? Because if it's an arrow pointing, then it's the
all
opposite.
wrong. Yeah.
So this is the most confusing thing, and it has been for years for me. Every time I look at a greater than or less than, so I honestly have to think about it for a little while. And I'm like, why the fuck do I have to think about this? Like, what part of my brain just did not form where I was like, Godzilla is... Okay, is it greater or less than Emerald? Wait. I always second guess myself. It's terrible. It's terrible, Schweiss.
I can't imagine a world where that happens.
Oh, my God. Is that... How do you remember it?
I just know. Yeah, I don't know.
The open side is the bigger side.
Yeah, it's open arms for those big boys. Let's see, Captain Bosch says, depends on if Godzilla has his plot armor of ultimate protection or not. If not, Ruby Weapon. If he does, not even Commander Shepard could hope for a victory. Stolas said he did some research and provided a couple links. HP. So if we're looking at this in an RPG standpoint, we're going to have to guess how much HP Godzilla has. Let's pretend that with every year, more HP is accumulated. Godzilla logically would have to have been born 150 million years ago based on the article above. Ruby was created 2000 and has an HP of 80,000. So 80,000 divided by 2,000 is 400 HP growth per year. Godzilla's HP would then be around 60, what is that, billion? Yeah. 60 billion HP. Okay, here are the attacks. Godzilla, claw, tail, ram, bite, and breath.
Trip.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Hot potato also as a special. Ruby, Whirl Sand, Ruby Flame, Ultima, Ruby Ray, Shadow Flare, Big Claw, Big Swing, Comet 2, Tentacles, Whirl Sand, Ruby Flame, Ultima, Ruby Ray, Shadow Flare, Right Revenge, Right Thrust, Left Revenge, Left Thrust. Notes. Ruby absorbs all elemental attacks, can be stunned. Ruby Ray causes confusion, has extremely high defense. With the amount of HP that Godzilla has, it would take an extremely long time to kill it. That being said, if Godzilla can be confused, it could make things quicker. He's going to say Godzilla would win.
Okay. Godzilla's fire breath is not actually fire. It's just like a nuclear blast. I wouldn't call that elemental, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think... I think Godzilla would go straight through Ruby Weapon. If Stolas's stuff is correct.
Yeah, I would probably pick Godzilla too. I mean, if it were Balthier versus either of these, I would pick Balthier, but I'm not. It's not. It's Godzilla versus Ruby Weapon. So
see, Godzilla is the king of the monsters.
Ruby
not
Weapon
king of
is
some of the monsters. King of just the monsters.
Yeah, I mean, we won't mention his unfortunate fight against King Kong, of course, but King Kong, maybe not so much a monster.
Kong, that was a draw. No one was the clear winner there.
I don't know, man.
They both went back to their homes.
Yeah, but one of them like passed out and then went back to his home, and the other guy fucking swam his like triathlon before he had to like run up on the island and then climb the mountain.
You don't even know that.
That's true. He could have fallen under the water shortly after the credits roll. But I still would say Godzilla. He has atomic breath. I mean, come on. What? Ruby can't even comprehend that kind of power. They could not have thought of that when they created those weapons. And I know Mako energy is reminiscent of nuclear power in a way. It has that kind of similar storytelling aspect with Godzilla coming out and the weapons coming out, but I don't think Ruby has a chance, and I don't think I could take on Godzilla as Cloud, and I know I could take on Ruby as Cloud. So, based on that logic alone, Godzilla takes the cake.
Godzilla takes the cake. Is there another creature in the Final Fantasy series you think that could take on Godzilla? Or does that Regenerator G1, which is Godzilla's regenerative powers? Or is the Regenerator G1, is it just too powerful?
Maybe. I mean, Yazumat would have probably a better chance than maybe Ruby. I don't know. He does regenerate after a little while. Maybe. Yeah. Yazumat gets that swipe move going, gets that like 12-hit combo on your ass. You're going to be hurting. So, and I don't think Godzilla has the reverse ability where you get healed from damage, and healing does damage. So I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
Maybe Ozma. It's supposed to be pretty tough. Odin would win because he would just Sanmato or Zansuken or whatever. Yojimbo would Sanmato him in half.
Yeah.
Those are cheap though. Those are like, it's like, Superman. He could just break anybody in half at any moment, right? So they just made him as bullshit as possible. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, so my question from us to you this week, guys. What if you want someone... Jesus. All right, I fucking botched that. Joe thinks Tales of Zestiria and the Tales series might be a good place for a fan of Final Fantasy that wants Final Fantasy to go back to its roots. But what Japanese role-playing game series do you guys think is a good place for those FF fans yearning for the days of old to really satisfy that need of FF 6 through 10?
Is there a series we haven't even thought about?
Yeah, is there a series we haven't thought of, heard of, thought of hearing of, that you guys have played that fits that bill? So let us know on the forums.
Okay, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this week. I want to thank you for listening, and be sure to check us out, ultimafinalfantasy.com. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate it. You can go to youtube.com/ultimafinalfantasy, facebook.com/ultimafinalfantasy, twitch.tv/ultimafinalfantasy, and you can tweet me at Joseph DeGollier.
Me at UFF Podcast.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Till then, guys. Live always.
There we go. Wait
in the
for
nude / enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.